What are your thoughts on Open Nationals? Jeremy said, I don't know how to feel for sure. This feels like last second after they realized they weren't going to have half the numbers as last year. I hope they either make it to top 32, make it that top 32 get invites or something. Walker said, it makes a lot of sense. However, the way they handle it in not telling everyone straight up that it would be open and instead of holding invites at regionals to get people to pay in is lame. And Setki said, I think Open Nationals is pretty cool. I think they should have started the season with it, you know? I'm pretty sure they just didn't because they knew the pricing was crummy. So we talked about it extensively last pod, but I would love to get your take on Open Nationals.
Okay. For sure. So first and foremost, you know, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I definitely do think Bandai handled the situation poorly. They definitely 100% should have announced it from the get-go if you're going to do this. Like, I get your, you know, if the whole idea is like, oh, we don't have enough people for nationals, then like let's make it open nats, but like, I feel like that's so weird. That's so awkward to do it like so close to the end of the season, you know? Because then this kind of pulls into like from a competitive aspect, right? There are people that, you know, play event after event after event trying to get their invite. You know, they're busting their ass off. They're investing all this time and energy, you know, traveling around the states and whatnot, trying to get their invite because this is a prestigious event. This is something that like I want to play at nationals, right? I'm working my ass off for that. And then, you know, let's say it took me like 4 or 5 events to get my invite. I finally got my invite. I'm super happy. Nationals is now open. It's open to everyone, right? And so from a competitive standpoint, I'm a little bummed out, not gonna lie, because I worked hard for this, right? If I knew it was gonna be open invite, I probably wouldn't have worked nearly as hard as I did. When I was trying to go for my invite, the first event I did, I put in like, I'd say like maybe 3 or 4 weeks of practice into it, and then I came into 19th place, right? Like I bubbled out X2, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm kind of like,
that 19 feels real familiar.
Yeah, it feels bad. So I was like, man, this sucks. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna sweat the next event, and I spent like the next 2 months practicing at least, you know, like at least 3 days out of the week, you know, consistently for the 2 months. And we got second place, right? I'm like, yeah, dude, like let's go. My hard work paid off, and then lo and behold, oh, you know, fucking need open invite. And like it's cool we got a buy. Like I'm glad there's some kind of compensation. But at the end of the day, as a competitor, it does kind of suck a little bit. I'm just glad they gave us some kind of compensation, I guess. But from a perspective of like, I'm just trying to hang out with my homies, I'm glad because now I get to hang out with my homies. Like some of my homies were, oh, I can't get my invite, I'm too busy, or man, I keep scrubbing out, so I have no reason to go to nationals. Well, now you do. There's no excuse. Come party, like let's go. You know, like
yeah, for sure.
It's a social event. You know,
that was the cool thing about last year's Nats. So like, yeah, it was like, you know, obviously Nats is happening, but like there was so many people there or whatever, and it was like such a cool time to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, sorry. I was a very big supporter of Bandai taking away store championship invites, only because there were just like some things I didn't like about them and the way that the system was. I feel like, okay, I don't know, how much do you know about Pokemon's competitive system?
So I am fully aware that Pokemon works on a champion point system and that you need a certain amount of champion points to qualify for Worlds, and you can obtain a certain amount from locals. However, the rest you do have to obtain from regional level events or national events. And starting this tournament season, if you win a regionals, you do get an auto qualifier.
Oh, that's nice. Because I know they didn't have that before. Yeah. But like, I look at the way that the Pokemon company handles like that TCG, and I'm like, I like that. Like, you know, sure, there are things that could be improved upon for sure, but like, there's some reward for going to locals. There's reward for going to regionals, and for participating in not just one, but multiple. You know, if you top multiple ones, you'll get points, and it's not just, well, you know, here we are like hoarding the prizing or hoarding the invites, so to say. Another big thing was like, I do think they should have started passing down invites earlier. But you know, so I was wondering how you feel about the local, I guess kind of like the bridge from local to bigger competitive scene, and about Bandai taking away those store champ invites.
Right. So first and foremost, we should have had pass downs from the get-go. I definitely do think that. There's really no reason to incentivize gatekeeping per se. I get it, like, oh, you know, work hard to deserve it or whatever. Like that's cool. Like, I'm happy for you. But also like, why, like, dude, just chill. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That being said, as far as incentivizing local scenes and stuff like that, I do agree that we should have some kind of incentive for people to go play locals. Like, I think that totally makes sense. But there has to be like a fine balance, right? Because there's always like okay, if we make locals, you know, like too competitively enticing, then all of the casual players are going to get pushed out, right? By like all the sweats and stuff like that. And then at the end of the day, the lifeblood of any card game, you know, not just like Digimon, but like really any card game, is the casual player base, right? First and foremost, the competitive player base always forms a very small minority of the actual big picture. So if you were to introduce like a CP system like that, you really have to like think about the pros and cons of like how that affects the more casual player base. And while I do think Pokemon's system with the championship points is great and everything, because you know, it sounds really fun, I qualify, earn those points. There are also things that I wish they did adapt that Bandai has done, like the amount of online events we have, right? Pokemon, I think they only had online events during COVID because COVID. But now if you want, you know, championship points, you have to go out in person. And for, you know, some people, oh, I don't have locals in town, right? I live in the middle of, you know, like nowhere, or I can't afford to travel to regional because it's like a $400 trip, and plus on top of everything else, right? So then it becomes not feasible to play competitively Pokemon. Whereas with Bandai games, I just need to show up to one regional, get my invite, and one and done, right? So yeah, there's a pros and cons to both sides for sure. Because like for me, I would love to compete in Pokemon, but I work a full-time job. Like I don't have that time. I live as an adult. I don't got that money. Like first and foremost, like I don't got that bag, bro. Like I don't you know.
Right. I know. Dan wanted to go down to South Carolina, and I'm like, damn, bro. Like I got a plan to like get away from the family. We got to decide if we want to take the 8-hour drive or fly, and we got to look for the place. We got to pay for everything.
At least South Carolina is not that far from us. We're in PA, so like it's not that bad of a trip. So at least if we make it a little something out of it, it would be cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Besides just obviously Digimon, but yeah, it would have been a cool thing to go.
Planning with life is just like, damn, bro. Like I don't know if I can handle all this.
Well, Zero, don't have kids yet. That's the biggest issue.
Give me a couple of years. I'm only 24 right now. All right, give me another 4. Give me another 4 or 5. All right, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I think there really is a fine line that you have to like walk when it comes to like incentivizing people to go to locals, and then like how that works for like their casual player base and stuff like that. So I won't give Bandai too much shit for that one, because like I do think that's a very difficult subject to tackle.